Admiral Zara's fateful mission. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Admiral Zara Vex as she stood on the bridge of the Galactic Confederation's flagship, the Celestial Hammer. Her 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern on her blue-skinned face, scanned the holographic displays surrounding her command post. The ship's AI reported their position, just beyond the outer reaches of a backwater solar system, unremarkable save for one crucial detail. "Status report," Zara commanded, her voice carrying the weight of countless successful conquests. Her second in command, a tall, reptilian being named Crix, stepped forward. "Admiral, we've entered the target system. Scans confirm the presence of the anomaly on the 3rd planet from the star. It's just as our deep space probes indicated." Zara nodded, her tendrils rippling with anticipation. "And the inhabitants?" Crix's scales shifted, a sign of mild discomfort. "Primitive, Admiral. They've barely achieved spaceflight. Their technology is centuries behind ours. However," he paused, mandibles clicking. "Go on," Zora prompted, her interest piqued. "Our initial scans show unusually high levels of electromagnetic activity and some energy signatures we can't quite identify. It's possible they're more advanced in certain areas than we initially thought." Zara dismissed the concern with a wave of her upper right hand. "Irrelevant. We've conquered worlds far more advanced than this. Earth, did you call it? Prepare the invasion fleet. I want boots on the ground within 1 rotation." As her crew scrambled to obey, Zara turned her attention to the holographic representation of the blue-green planet slowly rotating before her. It looked so insignificant, so fragile, and yet it held the key to the Confederation's ultimate victory in the ongoing war against the Swarm. For centuries, the Galactic Confederation had battled the insectoid Swarm, a relentless enemy that consumed entire worlds, strip-mining them for resources to fuel their endless expansion. The Confederation's superior technology had kept them at bay, but victory always seemed just out of reach. Until now. Deep space probes had detected an anomaly on this insignificant world, an energy signature unlike anything the Confederation had ever encountered. Initial analysis suggested it could be the ultimate weapon, capable of turning the tide of the war once and for all. Zara's mission was clear: secure the anomaly at any cost. As the invasion fleet prepared for deployment, Zara retreated to her private quarters. She activated her personal terminal, bringing up all available data on the planet Earth and its dominant species, humans. The more she read, the more her confusion grew. By all accounts, humans were a fractious, divided species. They fought among themselves constantly over resources, ideology, and territory. Their weapons were primitive by Confederation standards, chemical explosives and simple projectiles. And yet, there were oddities in the data, occasional leaps in technology that seemed to defy explanation, instances of surprising resilience in the face of global catastrophes, and most intriguingly, a cultural obsession with the concept of alien invasion. Zara's lower left hand absent-mindedly stroked one of her tendrils as she pondered. Could it be that the humans were aware of their world's importance? Had they somehow detected the anomaly themselves and were preparing for an eventual confrontation? She shook her head, dismissing the notion. It was far more likely that the humans were simply an unusually paranoid species, their isolation in the galaxy feeding their imaginations. A chime from her communication implant interrupted her musings. "Admiral," Crix's voice resonated in her mind. "The invasion fleet is ready for your inspection." "Excellent," Zara replied. "I'll be there shortly." She took one last look at the data scrolling across her terminal, then made her way to the main hangar bay. As she entered, the sight that greeted her filled her with pride and confidence. Rows upon rows of sleek, deadly spacecraft filled the cavernous space, dropships designed for atmospheric entry and troop deployment, fighters for air superiority, and at the center, her personal command shuttle, a marvel of Confederation engineering capable of projecting an impenetrable energy shield. Zara walked down the line, inspecting the troops. They were the best the Confederation had to offer, drawn from 100 different species across the galaxy. Each soldier was encased in powered armor that enhanced their natural abilities and protected them from most known weapons. As she reached the end of the line, she turned to address her forces, warriors of the Confederation. She began, her voice amplified throughout the hangar. Today, we embark on a mission of utmost importance. On the planet below lies the key to our final victory against the swarm. A ripple of excitement passed through the assembled troops. The inhabitants of this world are primitive, but do not underestimate them. They may possess secrets we do not yet understand. Our goal is to secure the anomaly with minimal disruption. We are not here to conquer, but to salvage what we need and depart. Zora paused, letting her words sink in. However, should the humans resist, you have my permission to use whatever force necessary to complete the mission. The fate of our civilization rests on our success here. Failure is not an option. A chorus of affirmatives echoed through the hangar as the troops saluted their admiral. Satisfied, Zora made her way to her command shuttle. As she settled into her command chair, she couldn't shake a nagging feeling of unease. Something about this mission felt different. In all her years of service, she had never encountered a species quite like humans. Their history was a contradictory mess of great cruelty and surprising kindness, of destructive wars and inspirational achievements. Admiral, Crix's voice interrupted her thoughts once more. We're detecting increased activity on the planet's surface. It appears they've spotted our approach. Zara frowned. Impossible. Our stealth systems are state-of-the-art. They shouldn't be able to detect us until we enter the atmosphere. Nevertheless, Crix insisted, military installations across the planet are going on high alert. They're mobilizing their forces. For the first time in her long career, Admiral Zara Vex felt a flicker of doubt. How could a primitive species have spotted them so quickly? What other surprises did these humans have in store? She pushed the doubt aside. They were the Galactic Confederation, masters of 1,000 worlds. No primitive species could hope to stand against them. Commence the invasion, she ordered, her voice steady and determined. Let's show these humans the futility of resistance. As her command shuttle led the invasion fleet towards Earth's atmosphere, Zara couldn't have known that she was about to learn a harsh lesson about the dangers of underestimating a species that had evolved on a Deathworld. The first sign that something was amiss came as they entered Earth's upper atmosphere. Alarms blared across the invasion fleet as energy readings spiked off the charts. Admiral, Crix's voice was tinged with panic. We're detecting massive energy buildups on the planet's surface and in orbit. They're powering up some kind of defensive grid. Before Zara could respond, the sky lit up with searing beams of energy. The Confederation's vaunted shields, designed to withstand the most advanced weapons in known space, flickered and failed under the onslaught. Zara watched in horror as her invasion fleet, the pride of the Confederation military, began to fall from the sky in burning wreckage. Her own shuttle rocked violently as the shield strained against the unexpected assault. Impossible, she whispered, her 4 eyes wide with disbelief. How can they possess such weapons? As her shuttle plummeted towards the Earth's surface, its systems failing one by one, Admiral Zara Vex realized that her mission, and perhaps the fate of the entire Confederation, had gone terribly, catastrophically wrong. The last thing she saw before losing consciousness was the approaching ground, and a single thought echoed through her mind. What kind of death world had they stumbled upon? And what other secrets did these humans possess? Unexpected resistance. The impact rattled Admiral Zara Vex's bones as her command shuttle crash-landed in a remote forest. Alarms blared, emergency lights flashed, and the acrid smell of burning circuitry filled the air. With a groan, she pulled herself from the wreckage, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly to adjust to the harsh sunlight filtering through the trees. "Status report," she croaked, her voice hoarse from the smoke. Silence greeted her. She was alone. As the reality of her situation sank in, Zora activated her armor's built-in scanner. The results were grim. Her entire invasion fleet had been decimated. Thousands of Confederation soldiers and ships, reduced to scattered debris across the planet's surface. How had it all gone so wrong? A rustling in the underbrush snapped her back to attention. Her hand instinctively went to her sidearm, a sleek energy pistol that could vaporize most known materials. But what good would it do against an enemy that had just effortlessly destroyed her fleet? From the bushes emerged a creature Zara recognized from her briefings. A human. It was smaller than she expected, with pale skin and wide eyes that regarded her with a mixture of fear and curiosity. In its hands, it held a primitive projectile weapon. A rifle, if she remembered correctly. "Don't move," the human said, its voice trembling slightly. "I've already called this in. More of us are on the way." Zara considered her options. Her translator was working, allowing her to understand the human, but she doubted she could overpower it before reinforcements arrived. Perhaps diplomacy was the wisest course. "I am Admiral Zara Vex of the Galactic Confederation," she said, slowly raising her hands in what she hoped was a universal gesture of surrender. "I come in peace." The human's eyebrows rose skeptically. "You come in peace, with an invasion fleet." Zara winced. This wasn't going well. "There's been a misunderstanding. We detected an energy anomaly on your world. We came to investigate, to protect our civilization from a grave threat." Before the human could respond, the forest erupted with activity. More humans emerged, these ones clad in what appeared to be military uniforms. They moved with a precision and coordination that impressed even Zara. A tall, dark-skinned human stepped forward, exuding an aura of authority. "I'm General Marcus Stone, Earth Defense Force. Admiral Vex, you and your people have committed an act of war against our planet. You will be detained and questioned." Zara's tendrils rippled with indignation. "Detained? Do you have any idea who you're dealing with? The Galactic Confederation spans thousands of worlds. Your primitive species cannot hope to." Her words were cut short as an energy field enveloped her, paralyzing her instantly. As she struggled against the invisible force, General Stone approached, his face a mask of grim determination. "Admiral, let me be clear," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "We've been preparing for this day for centuries. Every invasion scenario, every possible technological advantage an alien race might have, we've planned for it all. Your superior technology, we reversed engineered it from the scout ships that have been crashing here since Roswell." Zara's mind reeled. Roswell, scout ships, none of this was in her intelligence briefings. Stone continued, "That energy anomaly you detected, it's a beacon, designed to lure in any alien race foolish enough to think Earth was easy pickings. We're not some helpless primitive species. We're the descendants of the ones who survived on a Deathworld, who clawed our way to the top of the food chain through sheer determination and adaptability." As Zara was led away to a waiting transport, her world turned upside down. Everything she thought she knew about Earth and humans was wrong. And now she found herself a prisoner on a planet far more dangerous than she could have imagined. In a hidden bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Stone stood before a group of the world's most powerful leaders. Holographic displays showed the aftermath of the failed alien invasion. Debris scattered across the globe, captured alien soldiers being processed, and the image of Admiral Zara Vex in her holding cell. "Ladies and gentlemen," Stone began, his voice echoing in the cavernous war room, "Operation Trojan Horse was a success. The Galactic Confederation took the bait, and we've captured one of their highest-ranking officers." The President of the United States leaned forward, her face etched with concern. "And the cost, General?" Stone's expression darkened. "Minimal, Madam President. Our planetary shield held against their initial assault. We lost some orbital platforms, but casualties were less than 1% of projections." A murmur of relief passed through the assembled leaders. "What have we learned from the prisoners?" the Chinese premier asked, his holographic form flickering slightly. "Quite a bit, sir," Stone replied, bringing up new displays. The Confederation is vast, but they're locked in a war with another alien race they call the Swarm. They came here looking for a weapon, something they think could turn the tide of their war. The Russian president scoffed. And they thought they could just take it from us. Fools. Stone nodded grimly. Their arrogance will be their undoing. But we've also learned something crucial. He paused, making eye contact with each leader in turn. We're not alone in our abilities. There are other Deathworlds out there, other species who've evolved in harsh conditions. The Confederation fears them, almost as much as they now fear us. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, the Indian Prime Minister spoke up. So what do we do now, General? We've revealed our hand. The Confederation knows we're not the primitive species they thought we were. Stone allowed himself a small smile. Now we do what humanity does best. We adapt. We've got their technology, their star charts, and a high-ranking prisoner with a wealth of knowledge. I say we take the fight to them. The President stood, her decision made. Agreed. General Stone, you have full authority to proceed with Phase 2. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just going to defend our world. We're going to claim our place among the stars. As the meeting adjourned, Stone couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity had faced its first true extraterrestrial threat and emerged victorious. But he knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead. In her holding cell, Admiral Zara Vex sat in quiet contemplation. She had underestimated these humans, a mistake she vowed never to repeat. As she heard the approaching footsteps of her interrogators, a thought occurred to her. Perhaps, just perhaps, she had stumbled upon the allies the Confederation needed in its war against the Swarm. Either way, the galaxy would never be the same again. A shocking defeat. The lunar surface stretched out before Admiral Cora Vex, a desolate landscape of craters and harsh shadows. She stood in the command center of the Confederation's hastily constructed moon base, her 4 eyes fixed on the holographic display of Earth and the space around it. The blue planet hung there, taunting her, a prize that had slipped from the Confederation's grasp. Cora was the spitting image of her sister Zara, save for the scar that ran across her left cheek, a reminder of a past battle with the Swarm. When news had reached her of Zara's capture and the invasion fleet's destruction, she had pulled every string, called in every favor to be assigned this mission. Now she stood at the precipice of either a glorious rescue or a humiliating defeat. Status report, she barked, her tendrils rippling with barely contained anger. Her second in command, a tall avian being named Threx, stepped forward. Admiral, our stealth systems are holding. The humans appear unaware of our presence on their moon. Our mining operations continue undetected. Cora nodded curtly. The element Lunarium X, found only on Earth's moon, was critical for powering their most advanced weapons. It was the key to rescuing Zara and teaching these upstart humans a lesson they wouldn't soon forget. And the strike force. Thrix's feathers ruffled with pride. Ready and waiting. Admiral. 3 times the size of the original invasion fleet, with our latest shield technology and weaponry. The humans won't know what hit them. Cora allowed herself a small smile. Excellent. Commence the attack. Let's show these primitives the true might of the Confederation. As Threx relayed the orders, Cora couldn't help but feel a twinge of unease. Her sister was no fool, yet she had been utterly defeated by these humans. What if there was more to this species than met the eye? She pushed the thought aside. They were the Galactic Confederation. No single planet, no matter how surprising, could stand against their full might. How wrong she was. The attack began precisely as planned. The Confederation fleet decloaked in Earth's orbit, their massive ships blotting out the stars. Energy weapons powered up, ready to rain destruction upon the planet below. But the humans were ready. The moment the Confederation ships appeared, the Earth erupted with activity. Massive cannons, hidden beneath the surface of oceans and mountains, revealed themselves. Swarms of fighter craft poured out of camouflaged hangars. And most shockingly, shipyards on Mars, completely hidden from the Confederation's scans, launched a counterattack. Cora watched in horror as her carefully planned assault crumbled in minutes. Human weapons, far more advanced than anything they should have possessed, tore through Confederation shields like they were tissue paper. Sleek Earth vessels, clearly reverse-engineered from alien technology, but improved upon, darted between her capital ships, landing devastating blows. "Impossible," she whispered, echoing her sister's words from weeks before. "How can they have such weapons? Such tactics?" Threx was shouting orders, trying to rally their forces, but it was a losing battle. The humans fought with a ferocity and skill that defied belief. It was as if they had been preparing for this moment for centuries. As Cora watched her fleet disintegrate, a new threat appeared on the holographic display. A massive human warship, easily dwarfing anything the Confederation had brought, emerged from behind Earth's moon. It was headed straight for their secret base. Evasive action. Cora screamed, but it was too late. The human warship opened fire, its weapons powered by the very lunarium mix the Confederation had been secretly mining. The lunar base's defenses crumbled under the onslaught. As klaxons blared and warning lights flashed, Cora made a decision. "Abandon base," she ordered. "All personnel to escape pods." She watched as her crew scrambled to obey, the realization of their defeat sinking in. As she strapped herself into the last escape pod, Cora couldn't help but laugh bitterly. They had come to conquer a primitive world, only to find themselves hopelessly outmatched. The escape pod launched, hurtling away from the doomed moon base. Through the small viewport, Cora watched as the human warship continued its relentless bombardment. In a matter of minutes, the Confederation's secret lunar base was reduced to nothing more than floating debris. As her pod drifted into space, awaiting rescue from the few Confederation ships that had managed to retreat, Cora's mind raced. How had it all gone so wrong? And more importantly, what secrets did these humans possess that made them so formidable? In the war room beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Stone allowed himself a moment of satisfaction as he watched the holographic display of the battle's aftermath. The Confederation fleet was in ruins, their moon base destroyed, and Earth stood unscathed. "Report," he said, his voice calm despite the excitement buzzing through the room. A young lieutenant stepped forward. "Sir, enemy forces have been routed. We've captured numerous ships and prisoners, including a high-ranking officer we believe to be Admiral Cora Vex, sister of our previous captive." Stone nodded, a grim smile on his face. "Excellent. And our losses?" "Minimal, sir. The Lunarium X-powered shields performed beyond expectations. We lost some orbital platforms and a few fighter squadrons, but no significant casualties." The general turned to face the holographic representations of world leaders watching the proceedings. "Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a turning point. We've not only defended our world but proven that humanity can stand toe-to-toe with the most powerful forces in the galaxy." The president leaned forward, her expression serious. "What's our next move, General? We can't assume this is the end of it." Stone's eyes gleamed with determination. "No, Madam President, this is just the beginning. Thanks to the technology we've acquired and the prisoners we've captured, we now have the means to take the fight to the Confederation. But more importantly, we've learned of a greater threat, the Swarm." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "I propose we use this victory as leverage. We negotiate with the Confederation from a position of strength. Offer them an alliance against the Swarm in exchange for equal standing in the galactic community." The Chinese premier spoke up, his holographic form flickering slightly. "And if they refuse?" Stone's expression hardened. "Then we use their own star charts against them. We find these other Deathworlds they fear so much. Forge our own alliances. Either way, humanity will no longer be confined to Earth. It's time we claimed our place among the stars." As the world leaders debated the path forward, Stone couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. But he knew the real work was just beginning. In holding cells deep beneath the Earth's surface, Admiral Zara Vex and her newly captured sister Cora sat in quiet contemplation. They had underestimated these humans, a species that had turned their harsh, unforgiving homeworld into a crucible for technological and military advancement. As the sisters shared a look of understanding, a thought occurred to them both. Perhaps, in these humans, the Confederation had found not just a worthy adversary, but the key to their survival against the encroaching swarm. The galaxy would never be the same again, and humanity was ready to lead the charge into a new era of interstellar politics and warfare.